Hello everyone, and welcome back, and thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. Hope you all have had a wonderful day and a wonderful night. And continue having a wonderful day and a wonderful night. It's good that something I would kind of strive to be the best, most wonderful versions of themselves, and as well. May this learning also be a for Ahuva, Ida bas Nomi, Chana Panina bas Rachel Tzlacha, Serena bas Leah Toba, Leah bas Mazal, Shira bas Rachel Tzlacha, Talia bas Roni, Baruch Shmua ben Chava Shena, Adam Tzvi ben Chana Rachel, Eitan Yitzhak ben Chana Rachel, Yoel Chanoch ben Rameir, Kedem Nisana ben Ahuva Chaya, Nisana Baruch ben Esther Miriam, Uri Yitzhak ben Ahuva Chaya, Asher ben Ita, Yisrael Yitzhak ben Chaya. So let's just jump back on into it. We're doing Peraky Mishnah Zayin. Also, you seem to ask about what's in the Beis Hamikdash. Lo yipla isha mirech basar hakodesh, v'lo yitzriach basar hakodesh. V'lo anir azivu bebeis hamidbachim. V'lo era keri l'choyin gadol b'yom ha'kippurim. V'lo chibu agishami esh shal atzei ha'ma'aracha. V'lo nitzcha haruach es amud ha'ashan. ולא נמצא פסול בעומר ובשתי הלחם, ולחם הפנים עומדים סבבים ומשתחווים רווחים, לא הזיק נחש ועקרב בירושלים מעולם, ולא אמר אדם לחברו שר לי המקום שאלים בירושלים. 10 miracles were wrought for our forefathers in the sanctuary. No woman ever miscarried from the aroma of the sacred sacrificial meat. Sacred meat never became putrid. No fly was ever seen in the slaughterhouse. No nocturnal pollution ever occurred to the Kohen Gadol, high priest, on the Day of Atonement. The rains never put out the fire of the wood pile on the altar under the open sky. The wind never overcame the column of smoke from the altar fire to deflect it or diffuse it. Nothing was ever found in the omer, the two lobes of the showbread to ritually disqualify them. People stood pressed close together at the sanctuary, yet they bowed down and prostrated themselves in an ample room. Never did a serpent or scorpion injure anyone in Jerusalem, and no man ever said to his fellow man, there is not enough room for me to sleep the night in Jerusalem. And so we're talking about the whole idea that the woman not miscarried is that they're talking about it as Irving and Bunin's answers from Sinai, is that there's an idea that no harm will fall on someone who is doing a mitzvah. So a pregnant woman in the sanctuary is involved in at least 2 mitzvahs. She's a participant in obeying the precept of being fruitful and multiply, but she's also there worshiping Hashem. So having protected from harm. As well, the whole thing about the sacred meat not becoming putrid is that if someone, it's that way of when you dedicate something to Hashem, it doesn't disintegrate, it doesn't become putrid. So if someone just dedicates himself to the Torah, sanctifies himself in his life, then he becomes holy flesh, and it won't, like his spirit too, will prevail against disintegration. And as well, when it's saying no fly was seen in the slaughterhouse, that flies are symbolized lashon hara, so that no lashon hara was there. There's all no nocturnal emission. It signifies that Hashem and Hashem's will in this world won't let a man suffer public shame when it came to this. And as well, like we talked about yesterday, that with the altar fire and the rains, that Geshem signifies Gashmiut. Like that there's the same source that we can't let the fire for our love of Torah and love of Hashem get drowned out by Gashmius. Then as well is that wind never overcame the column of smoke from the altar fire, is that wind is able to destroy a lot of things. But yet when it came to this, even like smoke normally gets billowed away in a second. But Hashem is that this all-powerful force, when it rose from the holy altar, it didn't do anything. And then as well, when it's talking about the showbread and the omer and everything, it's saying about how that implicit in this miracle is that how did Hashem ensure sustenance and prosperity amongst Bnei Israel? Is that not by guaranteeing rain or full employment, but it's through those special mitzvot that are between man and his creator. When it's talking about that people stood all crowded together, but when they bowed down, they were okay, is that they had enough ample room. It's an idea that it was so that they wouldn't hear each other pray, so that they would be able to confess their sins without being embarrassed. Then as well, it's that whenever we know that, like, we learn from this an idea that whenever we're hard pressed and we're stressed with things, we should bow down and pray to Hashem, and then we will have space. And not just bowing, not just praying, but bowing too. Completely becoming subservient to Hashem. And so, and then as well, is that the name Yerushalem comes from Malchit Tzedek called originally called it Shalem, while Avram and called it Hashem Yireh, and so Hashem combined the Yireh and Shem in Yerushalem and created Yerushalem and created the name Yerushalayim, which it denotes a city predestined for reverence and divine worship. And then as well, it's that whole thing about how Yerushalayim being special is that Torah observance and mitzvot observance within the land of Israel, without the land and outside of the land of Israel, is a completely different ballgame. You're able to do so many more mitzvahs inside Eretz Yisrael than you're already able to do outside of Israel, and so it's a completely separate level. And so in a very, very, very quick review, and thank you so much for listening. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully you all have had a wonderful day and a wonderful night. Continue to have a wonderful day and a wonderful night. We're going to strive to be the most wonderful and best for themselves, and for it to be a refuah shlema for Ahuva Ida Nomi Chana Penina Bas Rachel Serena Bas Leah Chana Penina Bas Rachel Slacha Serena Bat Leah Tova Leah Bas Mazal Shirel Bas Rachel Slacha Talia Bat Roni Baruch Shmuel Ben Chava Shena Adam Tzvi Ben Chana Rachel Eitan Yitzchak Ben Chana Rachel Yoach Anoch Ben Avram Meir Kedem Ben Sana Ben Uvachaya Sana Baruch Ben Esther Miriam Uri Yitzchak Ben Uvachaya Asher Ben Ita Yisrael Yitzchak Ben Chaim. So let's just jump quickly into it. So Perakim Shazayin Asrani seem now saying to lose it. Bebes Abidash Loy Pelai Ishami Basar Kodesh Litzrak Basar Kodesh May Allah Beloni Raz Zebu Bebes Abid Bachim below Iraq Kiri Lechoin Garobi Yom Kippurim below Chibu Al Kishrim Ish Shelat Seya Maharacha Lo Nitzcha Haruach Et Samuda Hashem Lo Nimsa Fusua Ba'omer Yibushtei Lechem Lechem Baparim Omdim Sufifim Mishtachavim Ba'vachim Below Yizik Lechash Ve'akrab B'Yerushalayim Below Amar Adam Lechaviro Sar Liya Malkom Mishalim B'Yerushalayim. Damn goals were wrought for our forefathers in the sanctuary. No woman ever miscarried from the room of the sacred meat. Sacred meat never became putrid, and no fly was ever seen in the slaughterhouse. No notch of pollution ever occurred to the Kohen Gadol, high priest on the Day of Atonement. The rains never put out the fire, the wood pile on the altar under the open sky. The wind never came the column of smoke from the fire. So the altar fire deflected or diffused. Another was ever found in the Omer. The two lobes of the shofar to ritually disqualify them. The people stood pressed close together at the sanctuary, yet they bowed down and prostrated themselves in the ample room. Never did a serpent or scorpion injure anyone in Jerusalem, and no man ever said to his fellow man, there was not enough room for me to sleep the night in Jerusalem. And so, just a very quick idea is that we learn from this idea that no woman ever miscarried inside the base of Mikdash is that we learn a support for the idea that someone who's in the process of doing a mitzvah, that no harm will come to them, that she's in the process of fulfilling the commandment of being fruitful and multiply, but she's also there serving Hashem, and so thereby Hashem makes it so that you won't have that sort of trial and woe while as she tries to serve Him. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope we all have a wonderful night and a wonderful day.